the inside of me. Before we continue on, I want to get a little nostalgic. Is that okay? I like to look back. I like the old, the memories on the phone is cool, but sometimes I like to pull out the old thing with the plastic sheets that the pictures stick in. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And you flip through those things and you regret the haircuts and all the kind of things, right? I just want to just a few things. I'm not going to do. Some of you don't know any of these things, and some of you will. That is called a phone book. And I know some of us are like, my son's even like, oh, I've never seen one of those in my life. The pages in yellow are for like businesses, called the yellow pages. And yeah, nostalgic, right? Now, we actually had one of these delivered not that long ago. And I remember saying, like, what am I going to do with this thing? Like, he's like, how do you get rid of it? Do you throw it away, recycle? I don't know. Let's go to the next one. Anybody remember that? It's the library card thing in the front of the book. Anybody? Okay, I don't know if they still do this or not, but I know some things are electronic. Like, hey, man, just nostalgic. Go to the next one. It's like, some of you are like, why has the phone got paper in it? It's how that was texting before. No, fax machine, right? Okay, go to the next one. Okay, do you remember this? When you go out of town or you go somewhere, you have to leave a phone list of contact info, right? Now you're just like, it's all in your favorites, so it's all on your phone. Like, I don't leave a phone list. Like, you put it on the fridge, and mom and dad are gonna go, and we're gonna go eat. Here's a list of all the emergency contacts. We don't really do that anymore. Some of you might, but we don't. Okay, anybody know that? I've never had to do that, but we've had one as decoration in the house before. It was like, washing clothes, is that right? Man, I just wear them dirty, I think. And then how about that? It's a fancy shelf. Come on, every house, 80s, 90s, had a TV almost just like that. And the remote control was your children, right? It's like, Eric, can you go change the channel? And I don't know if you remember this, but you wanted to watch a VHS, you had to make sure that TV's on channel 3. Or it's not going to work. Okay, here's the deal. Some of you are completely lost and confused, and what's going to happen is in about 30 years, you're going to be sharing pictures with other people of things that we now do that are obsolete in the future, right? I like to get nostalgic sometimes and look at these things, but you know what's funny? It really shows. Everything's always changing. Like, change is inevitable. Like, that big tube TV, you're like, how can technology get any better? Like, there's somebody in this device, I can see them. And then now it's like, we have more power in our phones than we had that sent people to the moon before. It's insane. Things are always changing. It's inevitable. But here's kind of the other side of that coin and what I'll call the dichotomy, the two differences that blend together of change. Because all the changes is inevitable, and it's always happening. No matter what we do, it seems like things are always changing. Change can also feel incredibly impossible. Right? If you're in the middle of a situation that is difficult, you can feel like this is never gonna change. Anybody ever said that? Like, nothing's ever gonna change, right? So you kind of got two sides of that, but we know that change happens. Have you ever seen something, you've seen a problem, you've seen an issue, something that needs to be different, and your statement, you've said something similar, could be a little bit different, but these are my words. Someone should do something about that. Like, you go to the grocery store and there's no buggies and they're all outside, right? You're like, someone should do something about that. Now, our house has 5 people in it. Some of you are like, oh, that's not big at all. Some of you are like, I don't know how you live, and I'm with you. It's great though. 5 people, and here's what I know about 5 people. A house with 5 people can get strode and dirty really easily. Here's what I think parents' most difficult job in the world is. I know we're gonna say things like making sure they're happy and healthy and productive citizens. No. That's not it. It's making sure that your house stays good enough looking to where if you get a surprise visit by somebody, you're not embarrassed for them to come in. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, nobody's coming over today in this house. You talk with them with the door kind of cracked, nobody else, they just us. Not even the UPS man can look in my house sometimes. Well, it wasn't that long ago, we were cleaning up the house, and house got looking really well. Now, don't get me wrong, my wife's not here today, but just know that house is always spick and span. I'm the one that messes it up. So just know my house is not dirty. She's going to come home today. She's been gone a couple days, and I hope it's good enough. I hope I haven't failed. But so we cleaned the house up, had it looking great. As soon as we walk away, we come back, and on a table, there was a pile of stuff. There was like a cup and some chip bags and then some trash, and we're like, what in the world? I walked away for a second. Now, here's my personality. I'm waiting it out. I'm not cleaning that mess up. I'm not going to do it. We interrogate, whose stuff is this? And lo and behold, guess what? Nobody's. Nobody's stuff. So I'm waiting it out. It's going to sit there till we die. Till we die, it'll be there. And when I find out who it is, like that's me. Somebody's going to clean this mess up, right? And a little bit goes by, and I look, and it's been cleaned up, and Chrissy just said, I did it. I just cleaned it up. She said, somebody had to do it. I was like, how dare you? That was kind of my response, and her response is like, it just had to be cleaned. Somebody had to do it. The world around us, needs change. And the world around us and the people around us, people that we work with, people that we are around, our family, and just everyone in our circle, come on, they need change in their life. And it's more than just a clean up, and it's more than a fix up. People need hope. People need purpose. They need meaning. They need passion. Like they need something in their life. They need change. And what's really easy to do, it's really easy to translate that same thinking over to how we live our lives every single day with the kind of thought, like, I know that the world that I live in is not perfect. I know that there's people around me hurting and broken, but this statement comes back in. Maybe you don't say it, but we think it. Somebody should do something about that. Someone should help with that. I got to get back to my own mess because my own life's pretty crazy. You know what I'm talking about? It's not my problem, but I wish somebody would do something about that. But what we got to realize about the change that we need in this world, change doesn't just begin in me, change begins with me. Right? Change begins with me. Someone should do something. Christy says, and her thinking is more, somebody needs to do it. My thinking is more, I'm going to wait it out. Somebody's going to do it. It just ain't going to be me. It ain't my problem. But the reality is we need the thinking of that somebody, like that's me. Like I'm the somebody to see the world change. So here's how Jesus says it. Let's trust his words more than mine, right? He's pretty much an expert. I would think we would all want to model our lives after Jesus. He says this, and kind of where we're going to kind of get the idea for where we're going to go today is in Matthew chapter 5. I'm going to read that and John 8. Matthew 5, 13 through 16, he says, you are the salt of the earth. If the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. Then he says, you're the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. And then in John 8:12, Jesus says this. Jesus spoke again to the people. He said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Here's something we need to understand. Whatever God does in you, he wants to work through you. Right? Like, we can't stop the work of God inside of us. If there's a work he's doing in me, he wants to do it through me for somebody else as well. He says, I am the light. I've given you the light. Now go be the light. Right? I'm the light. I've shown you the light. I've exposed things. I've revealed things to you. I've showed you what life is all about. Now go into your world and be the light. See, whatever God does in us, he wants to flow through us. We are the change the world needs. Like, I don't know if you ever wondered, like, God's, what's your plan? What is your plan for this world? Can I let you in on a not so much secret? It's you. And so you're like, oh, Some of you just said, oh crap. Yeah, I get it. I think that for myself sometimes, like, God, your plan is me. But that's what he reaches us, he changes us. Now he sends us to be the change. We're the change agents in the world, like a secret agent, right? To create change in the world around us. When we find Christ, he gives us a new identity. He gives us a new meaning. He gives us a new purpose. When I belong to Christ, see, life looked a little bit different before I came to Christ. My life pursued after a lot of things that I tried to fulfill me and make a difference in my life. I've tried those things, didn't work. Found Christ, I'm fulfilled. And now he said, I'm giving you a new purpose. You're not here to make a name for yourself. You're not just here to make a good living, to make money. You're here now to make a difference. And that's the only way that we're gonna find fulfillment in our own lives when we realize the purpose that we're created for is to make a difference. And it's easy though, it's easy to live my life like I lived with that pile of trash in the house. I'd rather make a point than make a difference. It's way easier to criticize than it is to create. Right? It's way easier for me to show you what's wrong with you than actually to do something and help you. It's way easier to be a thermometer than to be a thermostat and to actually create some change in the atmosphere. But that's actually our responsibility. We have to take responsibility for the change in our world. I'm not telling you to take responsibility for all the problems, right? There's a whole lot of problems. I can't take responsibility and say all those problems are mine. Some of them are mine, right? I got my own set. But I can take responsibility for the change. Say, I'm gonna quit waiting for somebody else. God, you've put inside of me everything that I need to change the world around me. And we're gonna talk about that even more next week. We're talking about the influence and what God is giving us and the influence we have around us and how we can begin to make a difference. So here, Jesus uses two metaphors. He uses a word salt and a word light. Now, salt, we know what salt is, right? It makes your food taste better. I mean, who in here, right? Elon Musk has a test that he's modeled after someone else, and you may remember, I can't remember who it was. They hired, and one of the ways that I'll hire you or not is he checks and sees, do you salt your food before you eat it? Because that way you don't know, you're just presuming and assuming things, right? But I'm salting everything. That's me. I'm salting everything. Christian's like, I've already salted it. No, I'm going in again, right? I mean, I like some salt. But in this day, it was a flavor additive, but it was also like it would help preserve things. It would help cleanse things. Salt had a lot of purposes in that day. He says, that flavoring, that preserving, that cleansing nature, that's actually you now. You're the salt. I've been called salty before, but maybe not in this context. You're the light. You're the light of the world. Now, we know what light does, right? Light shines, it exposes, it illuminates, it reveals, it guides, right? We need a light to see where we're going. Anybody ever walked in the middle of the night throughout your house and somebody moved just a small piece of furniture just a little bit and you had no light and you found it with your toe? You know what I'm talking about? Light is important to see where you're going. It's important. He says, you are the salt, you are the light. I think it's interesting how he says this here. He doesn't just say, you are to go and to be salty to the world. Again, and not assault people, that's different. Don't assault people no matter how much you feel like it. All right, you're to go and to preserve and to do all these things that salt does. And you're not to just go and be a light. Not just to go and light. Your job is not to go and light up rooms. He says you are. See, there's a difference between a verb and a noun. He didn't just say to go and be like this, to just go and try to do this. He said this is actually what you are, right? You are salt. You are light. This is now your identity. And like I said, you cannot find fulfillment outside of who you are. And he said, you want to know who you are? Here's what Jesus says. You're salt and you're light. You're created to make a difference in this world. When you come to him, like you have within you to make a difference. See, as salt and light, you make the world better and you make the world brighter. Like, that's us. I'm like you, you're thinking, I don't even like people. I know, I get it. This is our calling. See, salt has this unique thing, and Jesus kind of says this kind of weird. It's like, if salt loses its saltiness, well, salt itself can't quit being salt. It's literally the element makeup of what it is. It can't not be what it is. It is salt. It doesn't lose its saltiness. It's almost an absurd statement. The same way that it would be absurd for somebody who is meant to be a difference maker in the world and to not do that. It's literally who we are. A light can't light up things. It's just what it does. It just doesn't decide. I mean, it may break, but it's no longer a light. Maybe a light bulb, but it's not a light anymore. It's who we are, not just what we do. It flows into things that we do, but it's who we are. We're the difference makers. Now, here's the deal. Talking about changing the world, that seems pretty big. What can I do? God's never called you to do everything, but together he's called us just to do something. Like, we can do something to change the world around us. Now, if you're like me, whenever I read this and think about this, and he's like, you be the salt and the light, people are going to see your good deeds and glorify me. And I'm like, what in the world can I do? Like, I just make it home at the end of the day and crash in the bed, you know? And like, if I don't have an attitude with somebody that day, it's a good one. You know what I mean? Like, that's a win for me. And you're telling me to be the salt and the light and to change the world. And like, he didn't get it wrong when he's talking about us. Change doesn't start with somebody else. It begins with us. Last night we were coming home. Me and the kids went out to eat. And thank y'all for giving me an illustration, by the way. And we were going to get out of the car, and they had some leftover pizza. We went to go have some Italian food, and they had some leftover pizza. And one kid gets out of the car, and the other kid gets out of the car. And I said, "Hey, do you have the box? Do you have the box of pizza?" And both of them said, "No, I thought they got it. No, I thought they got it." And so, like, let's go back and get the box of pizza. But how often do we approach the world like that? They'll get it. But instead, what if it's you that's the one that's supposed to get it and to change? Changing the world seems intimidating. Let's break this down a little bit easier. It's like, we scary as, hey, I'm supposed to change the world, and it's very simple. God's not expecting you to go right now, today, and go start some orphanage in some middle village place you've never met. Maybe he is. But let's break this down to be a whole lot simpler and how you can begin to create change in the world around you. I'm going to give you a few things here and how we can just be salt and we can be light. Is that okay? It's going to be simple. I promise. They're all things you can do today. They're all things that you can live out today. First one, to be the salt and the light, we have to value people. We have to value people. We can never see change in people if we don't value them. And here's the reality. People know if you value them or not. People can tell. If we want to be the light, doesn't it make sense, like, to look at an example of who was the light? Jesus, right? Anybody want to be kind of more like Jesus? Like, I know I need to be more like Jesus. My family asks them, they're like, he needs to be more like Jesus. Let's look at Jesus, right? Jesus valued people. Jesus valued people everywhere that he went. And look at this. He valued everyone. Now, that can get kind of messy. When you start saying things like value everyone, there's no except. And that's tough because I feel like I've got at least 10 exceptions flowing right now. Like, I've got value for everyone except for that person. You know, you come on, you got your exception list. Jesus didn't have one. What a high calling. He just valued people everywhere that he went. I just want to look at a little example of this, but you read through the Gospels, you can see all the time just how Jesus showed up and had compassion on people, valued people, loved people, no matter who they were. But I'll read this short story that kind of talks about Jesus valuing everyone. Luke chapter 8, 41 through 45, he says, "Then a man named Jairus, a synagogue leader, who was an important man, right? The kind of guy that if you want to get ahead in your career, this is the man that you know, right? And then he says this, synagogue leader came and fell down at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house because his only daughter, a girl of about 12, was dying. As Jesus was on his way, the crowds almost crushed him. So many people were gathered around him because he'd been doing miracles and everybody just wanted to be around Jesus. He said, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. Another gospel tells us she'd been to doctors after doctor after doctor and used all her money trying to find some kind of relief and healing, couldn't find any. That she came up behind him and touched just the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. And Jesus turned around and asked, who touched me? And the disciples kind of looking at him, I believe in a sarcastic tone. Peter says, Master, the people are crowding and pressing all against you. Like, how do you say who touched you? There's 1,000 people touching you right now. But Jesus stops, he turns around, he finds the woman, he pauses, and he talks to the woman, he encourages her, he continues and finishes the healing, and he forgives her and sends her on her way. Now, how many people, if we're on the way to something important, like I'm going somewhere, I'm talking to a leader. If I talk to this guy, come on, thinking about Jesus, he's got a mission to accomplish. He's here for a reason. If I can get in with a certain group of people, then it'll help my cause. But he's on the way to this guy's house whose daughter is dying. And in the midst of that, he stops for a woman who's got nothing to give him. A woman who is sick and hurting, and he turns around, stops. Why? Because Jesus valued her. He valued her. He looked beyond anything else. Any divisions of the society, he looked beyond even her condition, and he was able to see a person that had value and worth. And it's a big thing to begin to look through different eyes at everybody and realize every single person that we ever meet has intrinsic worth by God. And God loves them just as much as you. Right? They have value. Jesus saw value in anyone. I don't know if anybody's with me on this, but this is feel like how more I live. It's a lot easier to see people as an obstacle than as something valuable. Nobody? Okay, y'all are holy. Yeah, I'm the man, but I'm telling you, right? It's a lot easier for it's me to see somebody's in my way, except for maybe they are the way. Like I exist to, right? They're valuable. They matter. They matter. Listen, we got to be smart. I'm not telling you to pull over your car in a dark alley when somebody's hitchhiking with a knife or something, okay? Pray for them and drive on by. But we got to start encountering people through the lens of Jesus, that they actually matter. They matter. Philippians 2:3-4, this is Paul kind of talking in the same vein of thought. He says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others. He adds to this a little bit, above yourselves. Not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of the others. He's not saying anybody else is more valuable than you. He said, but the way that we treat people, treat them even with more value than you do yourself. Like, live to elevate others. So the question, you can just self-reflect, because I'm not going to tell you the answer for myself. How you doing? I feel like I got at least a D, right? I got to get better than an F. Here's the second thing. Add value to people. It's one thing to value people. It's another thing to actually intentionally add value to people. To try to not just see them in a different way, but to live in a way to make their life better and brighter. Add value to people. This is how we begin to actually influence the world around us. And so let me give you just a couple ways to add value. First, I'm going to back up just here. I want to go back to this. You got to see them as valuable. I know we just said it, but you can never add value to somebody that you don't think is valuable. Because my perspective towards you determines how I treat you. Right, and if I see you as less than me, I'll talk down to, or it'll come out. Even if I help you, it comes off in how I treat you. Right, If I see you as weak, I want to help you. If I see you as broken, I want to fix you. If I see you as valuable, I want to serve you. And those top two, they sound really great because I want to help you, I want to fix you. But those top two still put me as Lord Eric. You know what I'm talking about? I'm the one that came in. But if I see you as truly valuable, I just want to serve you. I just want to help you in life. I just want to elevate you. We got to see people as valuable in order to do that. Mark 9:35, Jesus sitting down with his disciples and he gave them a little lesson. Wouldn't you like to learn straight from Jesus? Well, we can right now. Here's something that he said. Anyone who wants to be first must be I don't like that. Can there be parts of the Bible we don't like, but we do anyways? You gotta be the very last. Come on, ice cream line, I'm first, baby. You know what I'm talking about? Buffet, I kind of look around for a minute, nobody's going, I'm not bashful. I'm grabbing 2 plates at the beginning. You can get whatever's left over. You want to be first, be the last, and he says, and the servant of all. You're never going to live a life to serve others if you don't see them valuable enough to serve. It begins with value. Here's the next way. How can I add value to people? Think of ways to add value to people. Like, actually, when was the last time that we've actually maybe sat and thought, and probably never, like, you've actually sat and thought, how can I make their day better and how can I make their day brighter? Before I get to work, what have we thought on that? How can I make somebody's day better and brighter today? Oh, I don't have to think about that. Well, before I pull in the driveway, I take just a moment and breathe and let what happened at the day go real quick. And I ask myself and I think on and I pray about, God, how can I help make my family's day better and my family's day brighter? Sometimes we're looking for a mission field somewhere in Ethiopia and sometimes just in your house. Just loving your family, valuing your kids and your wife. And how can I do that? Think of ways. Think of ways. Next is just look for ways. Come on, as you go throughout your day, here's what's interesting. You'll see what you're looking for. You see what you're looking for. And if you're not looking for it, so often you don't see it, right? And if I'm looking for ways actively, if I have in my mind, I make a little note, man, how can I actually make a difference in somebody's life today? Sometimes the only difference is I'm looking for it. Because there's people all around you every single day that need somebody to care. Will we just stop? Here's the reality. You don't see things as they are. You see things as you are. It makes sense? You don't really see things as they are. We never see things clearly. We see things through how we are. And so I want to look for, God, how can I move beyond myself and actually today add value and care about somebody else? Last one is simply just, just make the effort, right? Take action. Like, I think intentions are important. I really do. If you did something to hurt me and we talk and I felt like your heart was right, that matters to me. Intentions matter. But at the end of the day, intentions are great, but intentions are overrated. There's been a lot of people live and die with great intentions and no actions. Like, the only thing that actually creates change is some form of action to do something. I really intended to. I'm the best intender in the world. I intend to do 1,000 things a day and I get about one thing done. That's a good day, right? We had a little flood in the house, our water heater. This is 6 months. Bottom 2 foot of our sheetrock and parts of the house is still cut, and I intend a whole lot to fix that. You can still see right through the floor. Right through the wall. Because it's not done, right? Intentions are great, but my wife only cares about the action. Oh, I intended to. Like, I took measurements the other day. Like, I felt like I made some progress, you know? What about action? Action. Here's how it was put by Jesus. Again, example, right? Matthew 25. For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. They said, then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? And When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go visit you? When did this stuff happen? I don't remember this. And he said, the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Jesus loves and values people so much that whenever we value people, he takes it personally. Like when I value somebody, Jesus takes that as I'm valuing him. When I help somebody, Jesus, like I just want to go closer to Jesus. And yeah, I'm telling you, we talked about things growing on the inside of me. We talked about it last week, man. I need to, there's prayer and there's a word, and man, all these things are so important and vital to the life of us as a Christian. But at the end of the day, also we need to take action to be difference makers in the world around us. He takes it personally whenever we add value to other people and do something and encourage. Maybe it's something as simple as just speaking an encouraging word. Maybe they expect you to come in and be a grump. Right, not me. My son's up here, so he's probably thinking about all the ways that, all right, not me, but other people. But maybe instead you paused, you thought about it, you looked for ways, and it's just an encouraging word. I'm proud of you. Good job. And really mean it, right? Men, let me help. How can I help you? What do you need from me today? Any husbands that could use that one for your wives? What could I do for you today? Think about work and all these different places, but maybe it's having the boldness to pause and to actually pray with somebody instead of saying, I'm going to pray for you. Right? Okay, can we be real honest in church? Who's ever said, I'm going to pray for you and I ain't pray for him? Okay? Well, that's great on Instagram. I'm going to pray for you. No. I said it a couple weeks ago. There's a big difference in praying for somebody and sending good vibes, right? Like I pray for you. I ain't even thought about praying for them. I'm going to be honest. What if in that moment, what if somebody actually just needs you to just pray with them? I know, it's like, it's scary, have the right words. I don't either half the time. They don't need you to. The fact that you just took time to care and bring it to somebody who has the answers, that's all that matters. Maybe you just look for a way to fill a need. Most of our decisions, if we're honest, and we can even look at this, if you look at the top resolutions people make, resolutions are very rarely created to make a difference in other people's lives. I create resolutions to make my life better. Decisions are about what adds more value to me. Jesus said to actually change the world, to be first, right? It's about adding value to others. He has to say it, by the way, because it doesn't just come naturally. So if you don't get this naturally, you're in the same group as me, right? We're in this together. We're here to make the world better and brighter. Very last thing, and I'll just say it really quickly, but I think it's powerful. I was going to skip it, but I think it needs to be said that the last one is simply just live good values. Live godly values in your life. Sometimes you don't think it matters just to live in a godly way, but the Bible instructs us that we're to be the examples in the world. Can I just encourage you in the fact that, hey, people need something. People are looking for something. They're looking for something to fill their lives. And we so often try just to be like everybody else. And that's not what everybody else needs. We're trying to be like them and they're trying to be like something else. What if we were just like what we were created to be like and lived in a godly way? And that's attractive because people are looking for something for their lives to matter. And sometimes it's as simple as maybe not having to do this massive thing every day, but I'm just going to live my life to honor God every day. And as I do, people are going to see that and they will glorify God, right? Because I'm just a reflection of the light. I'm not the light itself. And so I'm just going to live out these good values. And some of them it has in Galatians chapter 5. It says, hey, the fruit of the Spirit, here it is. Here's the fruit of the Spirit. Here's some ways for us as believers to kind of live. Love, joy. Don't we like to be around people who are joyful? That's a whole lot better than somebody who's always mad. Peace and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Man, if we just live out some good values, it's attractive to people. And they begin to see, man, there's something going on with them. What is it? You know, far too often, it's kind of been this stigma that like Christians, I don't want nothing to do with that. Come on, anybody ever heard that or even said it? I've said it. Until I met Jesus myself, if I just saw people as an example so often, I'm like, nope. What if instead we just lived the way that, guess what? You're not perfect. And you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, you're gonna mess up, say the wrong thing. But you know what? We get back up and we honor God. And we get back up and we serve God. And it's attractive to people because they're looking for what we have. Because we're all searching for that thing that fulfills us and fills us. And guess what? Our job, our purpose is now to bring that to the world. Would you stand up with me? The change that we need, guess what? It's not somebody else's job. I wish they would quit leaving the buggies there. Just grab it and bring it over and put it in the thingy. Right? It's not somebody else's responsibility. Yeah, maybe somebody else's problem. Somebody else maybe that they can fix some things too. But the reality is Jesus is called us. The other side of that is you as a believer, you as a Christian, you'll never be fulfilled in your life unless you're living bigger than yourself. You never will. It's about living beyond me and living for others. In just a moment, can you just kind of close your eyes for just a moment and let's give God just a little bit of space. You know what, if you're in here and the reality is, you're one of those searching. You know, you yourself, you don't know God. You don't have fulfillment in your own life. You don't realize that there's an identity and a purpose for your life greater than just making it through the day, just making a living. There's actually purpose for you, that Jesus has come to this earth and he died for you to set you free, to save your soul, to bring you into his family. And if that's you and you're just like, Pastor, I need to give my life to Jesus. I need to know what that life is for me. If that's you just slip your hand up. Come on, I see some hands. Thank you. Awesome, thank you. Thank you. Hey, if you're in this place and you're just like, Pastor, I just need some help. It's so easy to get focused on me and forget that I'm here to live beyond just myself. And would you just pray for me that I would have the perspective and the passion to live this out this week and to see somebody's life changed, even if it's just as simple as showing them value and adding value in some small way. If that's you and you just need some help in that area, would you just lift your hand up? Come on, that's most of us. Father, I just lift you up. God, because you are good, you're mighty, you're awesome, you're powerful. There's none of us that's got it all together. None of us. But God, we have a high calling because whatever you do in us, and God, you've saved our soul, you've set us free. Whatever you do in us, God, you want to do through us, and you want to use us to see other people's lives changed. God, thank you for that honor. God, thank you for using me. The people in here that raise their hand that they need to give their life to you, God, I just pray that in this moment they would simply just pray, God, forgive me of my sin. I give my life to you. Use me. I'm yours now and forever. And as they do, their lives are changed and made new. And we celebrate that together. Father, we just leave this place different than we came in. We leave this place to make a difference. God, let us leave the doors and be the church, not just go to church. And God, we thank you for all this. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Come on, can we just give God some praise?